We're at the end game of the 300-year experiment of central banks. Bitcoin was really invented as a central bank, so now it's Bitcoin's time.
Max Keiser provides an updated forecast for Bitcoin and discusses how the cryptocurrency is poised for a significant upheaval in the latter part of 2023. Keiser highlights the ongoing global devaluation of fiat currencies at an unprecedented pace, suggesting that eventually, everything will be valued in Bitcoin. The unparalleled value of the cryptocurrency is causing other assets to trend towards zero in comparison. Keiser acknowledges Michael Saylor, sharing a similar perspective on the beauty and aesthetics of Bitcoin. The introduction of Bitcoin to large capital pools, as championed by both Keiser and Saylor, has proven pivotal, especially in anticipation of inflation and economic disruptions. Major institutions, including BlackRock, are redirecting their focus towards Bitcoin, affirming Saylor's foresight. Emphasizing that Bitcoin represents a pristine and perfect form of money long sought after by society since the inception of the crypto market, Max Keiser underscores its disruptive impact on the status quo. While many are in awe of the transformative power of Bitcoin, others perceive it as a potential threat to reshape the financial landscape. The video delves into Max Keiser's insights on the future success of Bitcoin, the crypto market, and anticipated developments in the months ahead.
Crypto is just reinventing fiat money, and that's that term, coins. And the CBDC is a coin, they're reinventing fiat money. All derivatives based on coinery are just fiat money, centralized, and not worthy to have a discussion point. As these fiat money currencies around the world collapse in real time, and as these central banks are now exposed as having nothing on their balance sheet but hamster, people are realizing that super hyper Bitcoinization is the way to fight super high hyperinflation. So we're at the end game of the 300-year experiment of central banks. The inherent fraudulent models that run these big banks is come under the weight of its own fraud, and they're all collapsing, and Bitcoin was really invented as a central bank. So now it's Bitcoin's time. Those who are not getting into Bitcoin now, it's because their DNA was not meant to survive into the next 2 or 3 generations, right?
You know, getting wrecked is a good way to learn. It's happened to many of us. Corporations, I think, you know, you have shareholders and stuff like that, and maybe it's not as, you have to be a bit more responsible about getting wrecked and becoming, you can't be a degenerate corporation and last very long. The same with, especially with a nation state. You know, President Bukele always says that where El Salvador is going is to the place we want to be, and we is very important, because if you have a bunch of coiners there, where do they want to be but wrecked, right? Yep. So you don't want a wrecked nation, because it's not a good place to be. El Salvador already had a wrecked nation for 200 years. Yep. Now they have the place everybody wants to be, because it is the savior, it is the ark, it is the Bitcoin citadel.
In terms of adoption around the world, there's a scale of urgency, and countries like Lebanon, obviously with the central bank collapse, there's an urgency for Bitcoin, and the people who had Bitcoin survived. And this is playing out globally. Here in the United States, there's less urgency because we are the empire. We are the world reserve currency for the moment, but that'll be changing very quickly. You know, the number of people joining BRICS is vastly faster than the number of people who want to join NATO. So we're entering into a BRICS versus NATO global bifurcated financial world, and the global south is skewing toward perfect money, that is Bitcoin. And we see that in El Salvador, and that's permeating in the region. So the Central American region will be hyper-Bitcoinized. And then, of course, Africa is going the way of Bitcoin for the same reason, because they've been left out of the 20th century telecommunications revolution that occurred, but they're going to leapfrog into the 21st century revolution with Bitcoin. And so the US is probably, and the UK are probably, as to use an inelegant term that one who's into the farming industry might know.
El Salvador has the first mover advantage. We have the best and the brightest coming there. We have the best Bitcoin companies there. So that's it. We have the market. El Salvador is the market. The rest of the world is going to have to fight over, they're going to start to fight over that 20% of the coin. They're going to look for the best coiners in the glue factory, right? So that's what they have to fight over, because it's hard to do it. It's not like President Bukele is cool, right? And he's popular and he's charismatic and he makes it look easy, but it's not easy. It's hard. Bitcoin is hard and it's hard work. And you're seeing the results today as all these companies like the likes of Jack Mallers and Fold are coming to El Salvador. But it took a lot of work to get to that point. So these other nations are 2 years behind us. And I don't think they understand how much hard work it is because he makes it look easy. Bitcoin makes it look easy, and that's why there's 25,000 coins, because they think it's just easy. You just invent a blockchain, cryptography, like you use the same words, and that's the magic. It's hard work. No, it's not just magic.
Well, the template that's being established in El Salvador is one that can be copied by other countries. The playbook essentially is making Bitcoin legal tender. Then securities laws are introduced that would support Bitcoin as money, and everything else would be considered a security. So here in the United States, this is still a vague and gray area that's battling every day with the SEC and Gary Gensler. But in El Salvador, we've already made it clear that only Bitcoin is money and everything else is a security. Then there's a new regulatory commission to help enforce those laws. There's the Bitcoin office, which is a gateway into Bitcoin, as well as the Association of Bitcoin, which allows for Bitcoin companies to make their way into El Salvador. So there's institutionally and structurally, there's now a playbook. And there's now things that you can do to mimic what's happening in El Salvador. And you too can have an economy that's growing strongly. Tourism is booming. And it's going to be probably the fastest growing economy in the world at this time next year.
Central African Republic.
Central African Republic, they decided to make Bitcoin legal tender. The Bitcoiners flew in like locusts, and within 2 weeks they completely them over, and they went from being the third poorest country in the world to being the absolute poorest country in the world, thanks to coins. So if you let coins in, prepare for a lot of pain and misery. No, this is the fun part. Yeah. You know, we put in all the work, and now this is the fun part, you know, to really enjoy the fruits of the labor. So we've been barns filling the world for, since 2011. And Tour de Meester, who was up here before, he was on Keiser Report in 2014, and we were speculating what country would become the first to make Bitcoin legal tender. We said it would be a small country, a nimble country, a country that seeks economic freedom. So now El Salvador was the first, and so we moved there.
Keiser highlights that El Salvador, unlike the collapsing banks in the US and Europe, has not defaulted on debts or experienced financial chaos. He issues a warning about an impending financial and monetary collapse, expressing concern about the disintegration of the concept of truth. Keiser discusses the emerging collapse attributed to higher interest rates and the detachment of money from reality. He contends that the extensive printing of money, coupled with government quantitative easing, has led to significant malinvestment, an escalating wealth and income gap, and substantial inflation. Keiser argues that although Americans may have initially benefited from money printing, the rest of the world did not. He asserts that banks are striving for interest rate neutrality without causing complete devastation to the global economy. Advocating for the retention of Bitcoin due to its inherent value and immunity to destruction by money printers, Keiser suggests a strategic approach to safeguarding assets in the face of potential future challenges. The commentary invites viewers to share their thoughts on Max Keiser's Bitcoin predictions for 2023 and the anticipated impact of the US dollar's decline on countries worldwide. Comments are encouraged below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.